Oh my goodness, I was about to start this video with hello one and all, and then I realised that it's a yeah, that's the saying that Sam from Seen Through Glass uses, so possibly not will be how I do my introductions. Anyway, here we go. I'm Julian from _the Views, or Moto Views, as our podcast is now kicked off. Just give that punt. Get on there, get onto Apple podcasts or Spotify podcasts and look up Moto Views, and you will hear JB, Moto Burbs, and I, yeah, giving it some chat. Get it the right way. I've got to take this jacket off. Bloody hell, it's hot. Oh God, look at the temperature in the car. Right, whilst at this junction, jacket off. A bit of flesh. Bit of flesh. Can't come up behind me. Better get rid on clear left. And let's go, go, go. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. My name's Julian, and you join me today in my family road test style thingy that's not any of those things at all. Can you get away with telling your partner that a Yaris GR is a big enough hatchback for a young family? Because ultimately there are other cars out there which are much more suitable for family driving, and some of them will have a bit of performance too. Yet there's no other hatchback out there which will perform in the same way as this car does in terms of outright performance. I don't mean top speeds, I don't mean fastest acceleration, I mean performance. As a car, as a driver's car. Obviously every car is a driver's car, as long as it's got a driver. What a ridiculous statement that is. What I'm talking about is that time when you go, oh babe, I want to get a new car, and she goes, well, what do you think about getting? Because everyone sounds like that. And you go, oh, I want to get a Yaris GR, and they go, oh yeah, but is there going to be room in the back? Oh, and it's only a 3-door, so 2-door and a boot hatch back. So whilst you're having this debate, let's think about the different things that you're going to be arguing about. Arguing, discussing, debating, looking at the pros and cons. So let's look at the first thing. How much is it? That's normally the age-old question. How much is it? Well, look, this car's 35,500. It is not a cheap car. So first of all, you've got that battle of, well, what is a Yaris GR, and explaining it to somebody who may be more focused on the family and the practicality element of what you're going to be buying, as opposed to what it could do just on the roads and especially on the track. So 35.5, how on earth are you going to justify that against other things? I don't know. There's probably something you're going to have to work out for yourself. Because if 35,500, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, there's lots of cars out there that are close to that as hatchbacks. And if you're not going for the most high performance hatchback like a Golf R, GTI, Mercedes A-Class, AMG, those sorts of things, which is where you've got to start looking when you're looking at this car. They're going to be comparable in price, or more than, in fact. but this is much smaller than those. It's not quite the same proposition. If you turn around to your missus and said, I want to get a Golf, and it's also going to be a family car, there's not going to be any question. I mean, it's been tried and tested. You know, everyone's always said Golf GTI, best all-rounder. I suppose the Golf R, you could say, with the four-wheel drive, a little bit more power, might be the best, but I don't know. But that's what they've said for a family hatchback. But we're not talking about those, we're talking about justifying this one. So far we're already into negative points, if you like. Well, we're already on the back foot. We've got an expensive car which is a hatchback, which you've got to explain that actually it's what's underneath this car and what underpins it and everything else that makes it as good as it is. Now, you could sell it on the safety front. You could suggest that the amount of grip in this car and its ability and its slip diff and everything else that you've got going on, that works underneath this car to make it a rally homologation, will also keep you safer on the roads, if you're not driving like a complete dick, of course, because there's no car that can stop you. Oh, Prius, maybe a Prius can stop you driving like a dick. Oh no, then you're a dick within your own right for the way you're driving, because I'm rambling. Nothing against Priuses or Prius drivers. I've never owned one, never driven one, and I don't know anyone who has one, so I need to shut up right there. I apologise. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so with family car. Can you get away with it being a family car? Okay, so yeah, safety, we could suggest that it's road holding, everything else, and winter weather, and it's just, this is great. And indeed, when the snow came just before December, yeah, this car was great. Admittedly, not the best tyres. They're a little bit slicky for lots of snow, but this car's incredibly capable, so it was yeah, all good. I mean, I didn't go snow ploughing here or anything like that, but I didn't have to worry about snowy roads. That's good. Nice, Mr. Jeep. So I'm glad. I wonder if he was looking because he was looking at the car, or whether he was just looking because he doesn't know the rules of the road. Anyhow, doesn't matter. Everyone's safe. Yeah, so safety wise, yeah, so we've got that, and obviously every car now has all of those different things on it. So it's got lane departure settings, this has got cruise control, so you've got those other mod cons, the things that, to be honest, I never use. Yeah, unless I'm going through an average speed limit on a motorway section, where I'll just set it at the speed and then just let the car do the rest of the work. Right, so we've got the Yaris GR, and we've got the safety features, we've got the cruise control, we have bugger all on the entertainment system, there's no maps or anything else. I mean, personally, I don't think that matters. It's got Apple Play, so therefore everything I need is on my phone, and I can just then put it into the car. And of course, the other thing is, if you're bothered about stuff like that, just buy yourself a simmed up a spare phone or an iPad or anything, and just have that as something you just plug into your car that carries all the stuff that you want on it. You know, why not? If you're bothered about using your phone the whole time, get a second one for your car. Get a cheap second one for your car, but not expensive. I'm making excuses for the Yaris GR. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't have that on there. Other things you've got that make it just fine, you know, it's got a reversing camera, so it's easy to get in and out of parking spaces. It's not particularly large in terms of its width or its length or anything like that, so parking up is pretty straightforward. It's not an issue. Space, I suppose, is going to be the other thing. Amount of space. Okay. So here we go. I've had my grandchildren in here, and I've had my teenage children in here, and my grown-up children in here. I hasten to add that my grown-up children being in here, my grown-up children are all smaller than my teenage children, different mums. Hang on one moment. Just going to give you another example of why the other thing with this car. The reason why I recommend buying one is whether you've got the kids in the back or not. Obviously I don't do this with the grandkids in the back, but within the speed limit on country lanes and certain A roads and B roads, you can be up on the speed limit and be having all the fun in the world. Absolutely no need to go past it or anything like that. You can just, yeah, just enjoy yourself. It's not, you know. Now, if you want really fast acceleration, just get yourself an electric car. If that's the only thing you're interested in, you can do that. But if you want something that's going to delight you throughout the whole of the drive, it's this car. So there's sorry, I need to come back to people, room in the back. It's just I watched a video the other day. I watched a video. I was on YouTube the other day and I saw this come up, which was how to drive a Yaris GR properly, or how a Yaris GR should be driven. And there's this guy on some mountain roads getting sideways all the way up there and all the way back down again. And in all honesty, what a hero. Seriously, I can't imagine I could drive like that. I've never been in a situation where I could try and do those things, or I'd be brave enough to try and do those things. But you know what? Yeah, if you've got the talent, this is going to be more than rewarding. I mean, it's rewarding for me, and I don't have any talent. So I should imagine if you're good at driving. Yeah. I think Chris Harris did a thing as well, didn't he? He did a review on the Top Gear channel, which was Chris Harris versus Yaris GR. I think he's done a few versus ones. He's kind of chucked him around a bit. So yeah, if you want to see somebody taking it to the edge, go and look at those. It's not necessarily the thing to persuade somebody that's right as a family car, but it might just persuade you to fight harder to have it. So room in the back. Obviously babies can go in the back. Car seats. It's got your usual fixings in the back. The ISOFIX points are all there, so that's fine. But if you have a car seat that twiddles round, they're pretty bulky, and they'll only twist one way, because if you try to twist them the other way, they'll hit up against the side of the car, because the car's that narrow. I'm sure there's lots of other cars that happens in as well, but it does happen in this. And if it's going to be a regular thing that you're putting your baby in and out of the back of the car, and this is your only hatchback, it's gonna get on your tits. It really is. It really will. It's fine if this is your I know if you've got two cars in the family and this is not the main family car, that would be absolutely fine if you have babies, because if you're only doing it once in a while, you wouldn't worry about that too much. But if you're getting the car seat in and out on a regular basis, it's not easy. And if you're getting a child in and out on a regular basis, if it needs to be rearward facing the seat and you want to use the function of twiddling it around to make it easier to get them in and out, which they didn't have when my kids were small. Yeah, just it's not the most practical, but it's not impossible. Not in the slightest. In space at the back for younger kids, booster seats, and just children in general, yeah, you've got absolutely no reason why you shouldn't have this. By the same token, if you're talking about smaller kids, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a 911 as well. So if that's your only argument, then you could go that way with that. But ultimately, yeah, this car absolutely fine. Younger kids and get in the back, no problem at all. Enough space. Only 2 seats at the back, so not 3. But for lots of people, that's enough. Yeah. I would suggest that up to about 5'8" is going to be the point when you're going to be going, I really don't want to do a long journey in Yaris GR, because anything over that height, when you sit upright in the back, just a little cramped on the neck. So I'm going to stick a picture into this. So the picture you've got there, so that is Harry and Jess sat in the back. I'm pretty certain they're both in the back. Yeah, elder brother pinched the front seat on that day. Doesn't always work like that. But they're back. There is loads of leg room. I don't move my seat at all. There's more than enough person sitting behind me. I suppose if they were 6'5", there might be a bit of an issue. But in terms of, you know, up to 6 foot, I don't think anyone has complained as yet about the leg room. Obviously, so much easier on the passenger side. The footwell on the passenger side is obviously huge as well, so everything can be moved forwards. Advantage ahead. Yeah, so anyway, do it for the room in the back. The thing that is going to really annoy you though is the seats do not return to their original position. So when you tilt them and slide them forwards, they don't slide back to the same place, and the back doesn't reset to the same place of where it was. So neither of those things. Passenger side, that doesn't bother me. Clearly, I'm not sat in the passenger seat, and as a passenger, getting your seat right and sitting comfortably is not a huge issue. In fact, I was a passenger the other night in this, yeah, because Lou was driving, and you know what? Nice place to be. It was comfy. The seat for a passenger as well, it was just so, yeah, holds you nicely. It doesn't need anything else. Everyone has moaned about the elevation. Do you know what? The elevation of the seats, and lots of people do work on the suspension to bring it down as well. I don't know whether that is really necessary for everyday driving on the road. Harry from Harry's Garage did a bit on that, so you could, because he has driven a Litchfield and also he's had the standard Yaris GR, so he gives you a bit of chat between the difference between the two, which was quite some time ago. Is when he first thought about buying one for himself, which he's now done, and also had the Litchfield kit, suspension kit put on it. I don't know how much better the suspension kit is for that, but for these purposes, no. For my purposes, no, there's no need. So we've got this fantastic car. Pain in the backside on the seats in terms of returning to where they need to be. Positioning, I don't care. Everything else is fine. It's a hatchback. It's a small hatchback. So boot space. I can get a foldy up pram in the back. Just a, I don't know how to describe them. Foldy up pram. Not a big, a pushchair rather than a pram. And when a pushchair, not a big push chair like a canvasy centered one. I mean, they're quite long, but they're not very bulky. Anyway, I can just about get that in the back of the car. A little bit of wriggling to get it into the recesses first before I get the other end into it. Certainly the first time I got it in, no problem. When I come to put it back in after we've been out, it was a little bit more difficult, more frustrating because I had small children in the car. It was cold, wet and raining, but that's more about my ineptness than anything else. So small children, and if it's your first child, well, you're going to carry tons of rubbish with you, tons of stuff you don't need, or you think that you need, or you'd like to have, just to make everything feel more secure. So yeah, possibly you might struggle with the amount of gumph in the back of the car. Ironically though, if you've got two children, if you treated your second child anything like we treated ours, and every child after that, yeah, you don't need anything other than a bag and nappy, and a set of wet wipes, and an emergency set of clothes hanging around somewhere, so that you don't really need to take much else with your second child. You realise that actually you might do maybe a bottle of something to drink, perhaps, or a boob. I don't know, but you don't need all the paraphernalia. You learn that pretty quick, don't you, with the second child? Because when you've got the first child and a second child, you just need to get on. Hey, there you go. Well, that was a little bit harsh on the van. You had only just arrived at the zebra crossing and to turn. Yeah. So I suppose do it. The good thing is do it. Get this car as a family hatchback, knowing it's not as big as a Golf, but it's not as good as a Golf. Believe me, I've owned a Golf. I've owned a Golf GTI, and that was sublime and superb in every single way. But you know what? There are so many cars that come close to that in terms of the driving experience. Number of cars that come close to this as a driving experience. Caterham? A Caterham, perhaps. I mean, that's not a family car. But in terms of the rawness of the drive, if you want it to be, obviously it's always like that in a Caterham, but in this, if you want that type of driving feel, that sort of connectivity, then yeah, this I can liken, isn't that some sort of werewolf? I can liken it to, or I liken it to Caterham, yeah. Not a big engine Caterham, a massive one. This won't accelerate. It's 0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds. But not all the Caterhams do. Only the very top ones. Yeah, and they're pretty raw and visceral, so they're, you know, not that. Yeah. So yeah, there's an Aston Martin Vantage in front of us. It's an old one, but it brings me on to things like the DB11, and for room in the back for that. This is obviously a lot more practical than a DB11 for room in the back. DB11 is obviously a motorway cruiser as opposed to anything else, that has no space at all. It's not good. I'm going to have to overtake this van though. Got a bit torque to steer then. I'm going to need to slow it up or talk louder because of the road noise. Do you know what? I could have been doing all of this all along and not heard any of it, which would be mightily upsetting because I've chatted for a while. So you can change this. You can change the settings of the car for the different amount of fun. So at the moment, I think if I'm right, it is 60 front, 40 rear, which is great. It is like driving a front-wheel drive car majority of the time. Yeah, with the added benefit of having a bit of rear-wheel push as well. Now you can swap it into sport mode, and if you go into sport mode, you get a little bit of graphics turns up on the windscreen, on the dashboard. Sensible. So we get some red lines. Tells you you're in sport as well, and that's it really. I mean, it's now put power to the rear, so we've now got 70% of the rear, 30 at the front, and there obviously is a myriad of buttons that you can turn off to remove traction control and those sorts of things, just to liven it up if you want to. And then again, we've got track mode. And if you go into track mode, you get even more red on the dashboard. Yeah. So I've used track mode, and not in this car. This is my second Yaris GR. Long story is about why I bought. Well, not a long story, but why I bought two. I ordered a new one. It was taking bloody ages. I don't want to wait, so I bought another one. Anyway, new one's now turned up, so I sold the old one. It essentially cost me nothing to own, which was great. Anyway, so I'm back with this. Why I'm going off on a tangent? I've gone on off a tangent. See, this is the problem with being ADHD. It's hard enough just to concentrate on doing these things, but I'm already off in my head thinking about other stuff that I want to say, and I still haven't finished talking about what I'm talking about. So track mode, yeah, track mode. it's four-wheel drive, full-time four-wheel drive, equal across every wheel, and I don't know whether there is a benefit to leaving in track mode the whole time or not. It does have four-wheel grip all the time, going to mean a better driving experience. Yeah, I don't know, I don't do that. I leave it in normal mode because I'm normal. I put it in track mode when I was on track, of course. I left all the safety buttons on. My car was also being driven by Jack. I can't think of Jack's surname right now. So he was giving me some lessons. God, I needed them, I was useless. And he took the car out with me as a passenger, and at no point were any of the systems interfering with what he was doing. So yeah, so they're not very obtrusive in track mode. He also recommended that I leave them all on for me, which was just, oh yes, he's quite right. Yeah, what else do you need to know as you're persuading yourself and other people that you need a family hatchback like this? Because if you don't have a family and you want to get a hatchback, just buy this. I mean, there's no debating it. It's just, you just order one of these. Or you can't order one of these because I think they finished production. So what you do is you go and find yourself one. That they do turn up at dealerships brand new, but people have ordered them now, don't want them because there's a credit crisis going on. And certainly there are more and more coming through now in the second-hand market. They are expensive, of course they're expensive, but we've come out of a weird time with the prices in second-hand cars. I mean, it will dip at some point, but you shouldn't be buying cars like this as an investment in anything other than the experience and in the enjoyment of it. That, you know, it's not going to make you money. I don't think so anyway. So what was I saying? So family and persuading family to have this is a family hatchback. My summary, without going off on another tangent, is if you want a performance car and you've got a small family, this is the car to buy. Seriously, it's just awesome. In terms of driving pleasure, because of the experience, I get probably more out of this than I do out of driving a 911. Yeah, I can't believe I just said that. So for the majority of the time, I could swap my 911 in for a myriad of different cars that would be more luxurious, I suppose, and would do the same just through automatic through the gears and back again. In this, however, it's always evolving, always doing something. And more importantly, this car's got to drive like a dig button. Yes, yes, indeed it has. So down here, you have the IMT button. I can't think of a good analogy for that to be analogy. Is it analogy? No, it's not analogy. What's the word for when? Oh, for what things stand for? Oh God, the words go out of my head. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway. Doesn't matter. It's a drive like a dig button, so matches the revs up when you're changing up and down. There's not really an opportunity to show you that right now. You're not going to hear it because I'm going. I need to be ragging it a bit for the engine noise to be really high, and I don't really want to do that. I'm behind a van. It's not going anywhere quick. Let's just down in a second. So you hear the blip. Anyway, because of that blip, just always sets you up so nicely to be on it. This van can't drive, can he? See what I mean? So I'm doing 60. It's national speed limit this road. conditions are okay for this in this car. Oh, horses, which I'm going to obviously slow down massively because they're not going to want me going past fast. So the conditions are okay. Managed to stop in time, obviously. It's not a great road to be riding with horses, especially with young people. And I can't go by now because we've got, because it's a brow of a hill. And I've now got some dickhead, he's flashing me now, that van. What a dick. Yeah, it wouldn't be my choice to bring a horse on the main roads like this. Oh, the horses are fine, it's the drivers you worry about. It's national speed limit as well. Yeah, anyway, there you go, doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, I keep saying it doesn't matter. So down to second. Revs pick up, I'm then balanced out nicely. You can feel the grip, or can feel the lack of it. That's more the point. It's not feeling, you're feeling it as it starts to go. You can get right onto the edge of it and without the car braking away at all, and you know you're there. It's like a little, yeah, you just get this little sense of slide and you can just fettle it. It's so easy to do, which means you're driving. So there's corners on roads where the speed limit is 60, where you can't go around the corners at 60. And in this car, I'm not saying you can then go around them at 60, of course not. But you can have so much fun, so much fun. Are you going to do it with your family in the back? Oh, that's not the point. Isn't the point. You're not going to do it necessarily with your family in the back. You might. It's less likely. But you can, if you want. You can if you want. Enough protection on. The car would tell you to switch up and switch down for your fuel economy as well. You've got that covered. So in summary, we have small hatchback, easy to park, reversing camera, very simplistic interior in terms of understanding and using, because half the stuff on the digital dashboard is not accessible in the circuit pack. Heating and everything else is all contained in a very easy area to use, which you can access without having to concentrate too hard on looking at a bloody screen. Really gets on my tits. Room in the back for babies, hard to get the car seats round. Room in the back for small children, room in the back for teenagers, and room in the back for adults that are, well, not vertically challenged, but just average height, I suppose. After that, all the performance and everything else, that's why you buy it. You don't need to explain those things in the summary. No, not at all. Should you buy a Yaris GR circuit pack as a family car? I don't know, actually. I really don't know. with all those things given, all the things I've said, I'm not in a position where I have to run around with a small family in the car. Do you know what? I'd probably, if I had 2 cars maybe, mind you, if I had 2 cars and I had one which is a family car and I had 35 grand for another car and the kids were barely going to go in it, would I buy a Yaris GR? With everything else I have in my collection? Well, it doesn't really count, does it, if I say that? Would I buy a Yaris GR? Yeah, probably, because your family car is a Golf GTI. Like I say, this is different again, filthy and different.